let me show you how we're going to create a bouquet for you. Now, as florists know very well how to green up a vase, that there is the standard greens that we put in that are standard flora and fauna, and the ferns here are known for having a tremendous amount of debris on them, that they, by their nature, they have quite a bit of things that become sediment later on, debris. And so we're real careful about how we do this. But then again, as careful as we are with this, the problem is that when we take a look at it later on, after it's all built, there's debris still floating around that came off of something, and it obviously came off of stems. So the idea is that that no other way can you take that off without changing the look of your bouquet than to use something like this, the Perfect Bouquet floral system. And so anyway, we put a few greens here. Some people will put greens in halfway through after they've created a bouquet, and we've actually purposely cut these pretty far up here so that there's not much in the way of greens all the way up. But the idea is that very easily we pull off a few of the thorns, and then we create a nice slanted cut. Now see how it's kind of flaring out? The idea is that the very center, you put the first flower or so in the center. It depends on how big of the bouquet you're creating. And then the second flower goes on the second ring out, and then holds itself on the outside of this bottom ring. So this one bottom ring here actually holds a lot of pressure, and it starts the weaving process, and it holds things together very nicely, as much as needs to be held together, without having other struts down here that would get in the way. So it's been very meticulously designed so that as you build the bouquet, you're not getting the struts in your way. So there's really only one ring on the bottom here, two struts holding it together so it doesn't fall out of place. And then on the top you have a little bit more structure up here because you're holding a wider expanded area, and that's where the flowers go in. And so you can create a nice radius bouquet without having things, the plastic getting in your way. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, but not much. And in the process you're finding that the flowers are being held together very nicely by themselves without having to resort to taping the vase, and or putting so many greens in the bottom of the vase beforehand that you're really wasting money in the process, because you're just having to create a base from expensive greens. Okay, now we're just making a larger bouquet outside the vase, or outside the cage. And by doing so, we have a different suspension ring. And we can build on most any size vase. This particular suspension ring here, the hinging suspension ring, and we'll show you that as it comes off, is actually very good for bouquets up to about 10 inches, or vases up to 10 inches, mouth openings. And as you can see here, we're making good use out of the bouquets that have fallen apart from the other different techniques. And we will make one very large bouquet. just to prove the point that it is possible to build way outside this original bouquet, this original cage, where some people might say right away, well, gee, that cage is real nice, but you know, I have bouquets, or I have vases that are bigger than that, and I have people that will ask for 2 dozen roses instead of 1 dozen roses, although you can certainly build a 2 dozen rose bouquet within the cage. But I actually have clients that will ask for 3 dozen roses in one arrangement, and so this is what we're doing here, is to create a larger bouquet. Looking pretty dramatic, isn't it? That's what we like. Nice big bouquet, and having no limitation on how the bouquet is made. There you go. If you look at this and you say, well, I definitely want one of those. You know, it's a little bit more expensive than the $65 dozen rose bouquet. But, as a wise man once said, with a spouse, you gain points very slowly, but when you lose them all at once. So what you want to do is make sure you get plenty of points from the gift. And that's what we're doing here, is making a very nice large bouquet. And, okay, now, to get the point here, we can kind of build and build and build until there's no more room. So what I'm going to do here is now we're going to snap or unlatch this. Now, as you can see in the front here, I can pull the hinge suspension ring away from the vase. See, I've got half of it here, the other half of it right there, and now I'm going to pull it out of the vase. This is a little more precarious because it's outside the cage now, but I have the rubber band, and with such a big bouquet, I think I might use 2 rubber bands if I was really making this, and not so fast. But right now, see, we have a few that we can cut down here. And we've got one very big bouquet that can be taken out, put on the shelf, or put on the counter, change the water, put the new plant food in, recut the stems, place it back in the vase, and it's just as beautiful as the moment it was made.